Welcome to Money in the Air, the music podcast about neighboring rights, the royalties you earn from the public performance of your recordings and the business of music in general. Brought to you by IFR, the International Association for Artists and Rights Holders. I'm Andrew, a royalty consultant helping artists to collect on their value.
Hi, I'm Gina Deacon. I work for Absolute Rights Management and I work with record labels and artists to ensure we claim the royalty income due to them.
I'm Stacey Haber and I'm from Inside Baseball Music Publishing.
Hi, I'm Tanya Oliveira. I work for Transparence Entertainment Group. I focus on World X USA neighboring rights on the performer side and rights holder side.
Hi, welcome back to Money in the Air, the neighboring rights podcast brought to you by IFR, the International Association for Artists and Rights Holders. Today, please, can we talk about Universal and Pandora conspiring to not pay neighboring rights to Sound Exchange, but Pandora to pay it entirely, including the performer share, to Universal, who, for whatever reason, is keeping much of it.
Historically, major labels have been able to do direct deals with Pandora and then always pass through the performer share to Sound Exchange, which, from our understanding, is a statute. It's been mandated by the Digital Millennium Copyright Act to pass through these royalties to the performer. If this is the case where they're able to collect it in full and then use the non-interactive digital performance to recoup on their artist advances and not pay it through to the artist, that is a matter of discussion because I don't know if they're allowed to do that, quite frankly.
I don't know either. I know certainly that WIPO and SCAPRA have frowned upon it in writing and said no. But again, do they have jurisdiction? Because the U.S. isn't a signatory to the Rome Treaty, where it is a non-waivable right. You cannot waive it, even with a written instrument signed by you in blood. Under the U.S. Copyright Act, under Section 106A, subsection E, it says you can't transfer it, but you might be able to waive it by written instrument. But they're not talking specifically about neighboring rights. So we need to do some more research. I will tell you that the reason I got into neighboring rights was on behalf of a supergroup in the States who are American artists on recordings that were recorded in the US. So clearly under PPL, they're not performers who can collect here, but PPL was collecting the money and sending it through to the UK label, fine. And then the UK label sending it to the US label, same label, sister label. And the US label was keeping it all, which if you're a qualifying performer and the money is collected by PPL, I think it has to go to the performer. But, we'll see. It didn't get litigated. It got settled. But I wonder what would have happened in that case. And it seems like it's the same kind of thing. How inalienable is the right in the US for the performer share? Can a label use it to recoup monies? Can a label just refuse to pass it on, saying that it was foreign income and they're not qualified performers? But the label can keep it because they're a label.
Absolutely not. And also something that Gina brought up that I thought was a good point is that there are multiple featured artists on a recording. So just because a label owns that particular master recording doesn't mean that they have established relationships with all featured artists with every recording that they're collecting on. So in essence, they're collecting on income that they have to then perform some type of an outreach to get in touch with those other side artists that are not directly signed to that label to pay them out the performers' royalties, which that is more work for them. So I can't see how they would be incentivized to do so.
It's not going to happen. They're just not going to have access to that information. It's hard enough to enter the correct information into the collection societies to make sure the performers get paid, contributed on the correct recordings to start with. To then, when you've got income for a variety of performers, to then seek them out and try and reimburse them for that income, it won't happen.
No, it just won't. You're right. All right. Well, let's say that this is part one on this topic, and we'll go away and we will do more research and do more interviews and come back and report back. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have information, please email us info@ifr.co.uk. Or if you have questions, send those as well. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. And don't forget to join IFR. Go to that ifr.co.uk button and hit join now. Take care.